Hello, y'all. Welcome back to We Got a Case. We're listening to some TPOs here. If anybody wants to come and get a discount for StreamYard, it's right there. Once they get done with this hearing, you can go over here and watch this.
Right, I've signed the order under those terms. There is no distance restriction. Ms. Simmons, you're just not to go onto the property of your neighbors, have no contact with them.
I have a question on that, sir.
Okay, yeah, hold on to that question for a second. And I want that security camera down by close of business tomorrow.
Okay.
The one that's on.
Oh, damn.
All right, your question?
As far as using my yard goes, my yard is much higher up than their yard, so they can see me most of the time in my yard. How should I go about using my yard? Am I allowed to be there if they're outside as well, or as long as I stay in my yard? Or
You can use your yard. I just said you can't have contact with them. So if in your yard, they're in their yard, and you're just not to yell at them, flip them off, have any conversation with them.
yeah.
Doesn't restrict your ability to use your property.
Okay. And then as far as the camera goes, am I still allowed to have it in my backyard, just not within that area?
Just
Yes.
make it clear that it's not pointed at the Peterson Langton backyard.
Okay. Thank you.
And Ms. Cruz will get a copy of this order and she'll have it for you, and we'll hand Ms. Peterson, Mr. Langton their copy.
Let's switch over to this.
Only at your backyard. What?
This is from the beginning.
I do not recall any.
I don't know what number of the attachment is.
Okay, Your Honor.
So
I don't have any more.
So the victims had a dog.
Oh, I have.
And
I
Miss
have
Haley
one.
said,
Sorry, I
"Shut
have one
the
last
fuck up."
thing.
Sure.
Is what
That
basically what
situation
this
where
case
my client is
was.
saying she was not yelling at your kids, and you said she was that day. Did you after that happened, did you walk onto her property?
Did not. Was at the edge of my property.
Did you walk over? You were mad, right? You were mad. You thought she was talking to your daughter.
I asked her not to speak to the kids like that. She doubled down and said, "Well, shut your fucking kids up."
Shut your fucking kids
My-
up.
my
But I don't think
neighbor wrote a
that's
statement.
anywhere
It
in
wasn't
that
what she said.
statement, right? Okay,
And it's in my neighbor's statement as well.
but you went on
I
to,
did not
you
go
did
on
not go
her
on her
property.
property?
Stayed on our side of the property.
Okay, Your Honor, that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Ms. Peterson, you wanted to tell me something else?
I just wanted to reiterate that on the April 29th, that with the claim that she wasn't yelling at the kids, I had asked her to not speak to them like that, and she doubled down and did say, "Well, then shut your fucking kids up." And my
Shut your
neighbor,
fucking
Dale
kids
Appersold,
up.
across the street, wrote a statement verifying that he witnessed that.
And Ms. Cruz, do you have questions for Ms. Simmons?
I do. Haley, I think there is somewhat, I'm gonna say two. Declaration.
Yeah, hold on for a second. And you can have a seat. And Mr. Saldana, Ms. Glafke, both raise your right hands, please. Swear the testimony. in this
Here's
case is
another
the truth,
TPO
whole
hearing.
truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you. And Mr. Saldana, you and Ms. Glafke used to date? Is that right?
Oh,
Correct,
damn.
yes.
Okay, when did you break up?
We broke up around early May of this year, 2026, but we still had active communications up until, I would say, early June. And these communications were kind of limited, just informal.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
That's not what I
And at
wanted.
what point did you block calls from Ms. Glafke?
On the day of the events, which was primarily July 19th of this year, 2026.
And you maintain she continued to call you using different phone numbers, using spoof capability.
She does have two separate phones. And so once I blocked the first one, then she started to call me not only on social media, but using the other phone.
Oh,
However, I do believe
damn.
the other phone was only used once to my primary phone. I also have two separate phones. Once I blocked her on my primary device, she tried to still follow up with me using my secondary phone number.
Okay. And
Wild.
has that continued?
It is not, no. Since I have blocked all the phone numbers and all the mutual social media, I have not been in contact with her. As it's just been other folks saying, "Hey, she reached out to me."
Other folks saying she reached out to you, or she reached out to other folks?
She reached out to other people trying to figure out my whereabouts.
Oh, damn.
So
Damn.
what's your primary concern if she's no longer directly
Damn.
trying to contact you? Tell me what is here.
My primary concern is that the way that she's reaching out to these people is mostly through that text message that I submitted in my evidence, clearly asking for my whereabouts, clearly asking to know who I'm talking with, where I am, who they are, and I honestly feel very unsafe. I try to be a social person, and I can't help but going out in public and just looking over my shoulder. I don't know who all she has tried to communicate with to figure out my whereabouts and honestly defame me, including the post that she made in that Facebook group. That Facebook group has 98,000 followers.
Oh my god.
I live in Rainier. The population in Rainier is 2,600.
Shit.
So almost 40 times more
Damn.
than the population of the town that I live in. I feel like I'm being put on, like, in the spotlight, and I feel very unsafe. I feel scared.
Okay, so David Alexander is you?
Yes, sir. My Alexander is my middle name.
Okay.
Got landlord tenants coming up shortly.
The first one is an allegation of you yelling out of a window at the petitioner's daughter. Can you tell me about that day?
Yeah, I had been working in my office that day and had been hearing her dog in her backyard barking pretty profusely throughout the day. So I had heard her yelling outside of her garage, and I had opened my window because I was feeling overstimulated, and I had shouted out the window, "Shut up." At no
Shut
time
up.
had I sworn at anyone. She then proceeded to come up and shout at me to stop speaking to her children that way. I let her know multiple times I had not addressed that toward children at all. I was addressing her and her dogs. And I had told her that she needed to, excuse my language, shut her fucking dogs up.
Shut your fucking
And
dogs
again, I was
up.
not speaking to her children in any way. She had walked onto my property shouting at me. I told her multiple times, you need to get.
I do not deny that I partook in excessive communication with him on the night of July 19th leading into July 20th before I blocked him around midnight on July 20th. I do agree. I acknowledge that the way I was responding was not productive, and I apologize for profanity used in my messages. However, I do respectfully request that the protection order is denied, as I have maintained no contact with him since I blocked him on around midnight of July 20th. I haven't attempted to reach out to him at all since then. In fact, on the day that I was reaching out to him, I had known of his whereabouts because I was originally scheduled to attend the public event that he was going to that night. So in my exhibits, you might be able to notice that I didn't actually ask anybody where his whereabouts are. I told them where his whereabouts were because it was at a public event. And I, as it is shown in my exhibits as well, I was reaching out less to find out who he was with and more because I was concerned for her safety based on my experiences with him. Some of them are highlighted in the exhibits that I submitted. And then in my exhibit D, there is a date on July 30th. That was 2 days, I believe, after the petition was filed on July 28th, where one of his mutuals that I was in contact with at the end of the night, I reached out to at the end of the night on July 19th, and she responded back to me a couple days later. She mentioned at the bottom of that exhibit D on July 30th that he was actually monitoring my mutual connections on my social media after I'm not able to block him because he blocked me first, and I'm unable to block him back on Instagram. So and I privated.
Damn.
It's clear that he has either unblocked me and reblocked me in order to monitor my mutual connections after filing for this petition. And despite not being served or knowing any of that information about the petition, when I was given this information on July 30th, I have maintained no contact with him, and I have no interest in ever contacting him again, frankly.
Damn.
Are you still trying to reach out and warn people he might be going out with?
No, and in fact, in fact have deleted the post that he's talking about in this Facebook group, which I also did want to clarify that was a private group. And I did follow all of the rules from the group. To my understanding, the group would not be able to function without following, like abiding by the law, or it would get shut down. So if anything I said in there was inappropriate, I do apologize for that. But to my understanding, I didn't give any information that doxed his personal information or whereabouts. But yes, no, I have not tried
God.
any other
Stupid motherfuckers.
communicating him or finding out anything and what he's doing in his life, who he's contacting, where he is. I have not been concerned with his whereabouts or anything concerned with him.
Mr. Saldana,
Yes, Your Honor.
anything else you want to say?
I feel like this whole incident has greatly affected my personal life. You know, before I went through the process of blocking her, by the way, I would like to point out, specifically on Instagram, if say I was the one who blocked her on Instagram, looking at the messages and looking at the profile, even though they are blocked, which I have maintained keeping her blocked since the 19th, you can still see anyone who is mutually following both of the accounts. And so that's how I was able to see that the third party in question for Exhibit D had begun following Ms. Glaefke after I had been talking with her. So that I have not been monitoring her as far as, like, I haven't been going out of my way to unblock her and reblock her. That is just as much as I knew about the situation. But through the incident on the 19th, there have been people that I rarely talk to that have been involved. Ms. Glaefke was very open about the fact that she went through my social media following list and reached out to as many of my female mutuals as possible, even in our phone call referencing some of my Facebook friends, my Instagram friends. And so I do feel very affected by this. This is a very scary situation. And again,
bet it
I do
is.
feel as though there was doxing as a part of this. I live in a very small town. To post the town that I live in and post my whereabouts, post which cities I spend time in such a large group, it's very clear and direct that visibility was kind of the intention. But I also have no intention of keeping any kind of contact with Ms. Glaefke. I want to be done with this.
And Ms. Glaefke, sorry, I was mispronouncing your name earlier.
Yeah, it's okay.
How long has it been since you told me you've stopped basically communicating anywhere about Mr. Saldana? How long has that been?
About him or to him?
Either.
I,
Well, let's say both. You told me to him, it's been a while. So about him, how long has it been?
about him, I haven't, I did, from a couple of the people that I reached out to on July 19th, I ended up deleting all of my messages after that, because when I was blocking him that night, I decided to just get them out of my inbox from everybody who didn't respond that day, because I didn't want to put any more energy into the situation. So the only people I have contacted since then have been people who reached out with similar experiences, but we have not really been discussing him in his current state or anything. It's more been like peer support and kind of venting with a couple friends that I made through those interactions.
Okay, other than when he was attending concert, have you notified anybody as to where he might be found?
Absolutely not, and I have no idea or no desire to know where his whereabouts are.
Anything else, Mr. Saldana?
Nothing that I can think of, Your Honor.
See what happens here. And go back to the doggy case. Let's go back here.
And she didn't want to listen until I and my partner had both stated, you need to get off the property or we will call the police. She then walked
Be right
back
back,
to her
y'all.
property and ushered her kids, who seemed fine, in the house. And that was the only interaction I had.
Okay, and then the second incident I want to talk about is an incident where
I heard him playing really loud music in my from within inside my home. And so I got an issue with his dogs getting loose. And as I had talked to him about that, everything seemed copacetic between us. We had agreed that we would converse with each other in this way from now on, and that if I did have any further issues with the dogs, that I could address it to him the way that I had handled it. As I said, I addressed the music, his dogs barking, as well as them getting loose at that time.
So would you say the conversation ended where you two are not necessarily friends, but it was an understanding that you two could talk about it?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And the last incident that I want to have you testify about is where the petitioners are stating that you held your phone camera up over the fence and what you were recording them privately and there was a conversation. Tell me about who started the conversation and how it went.
I had walked
Oh,
outside
bam.
and stood on my patio stairs, and I was just on my phone out there, not recording anything. Toshi had looked over his fence at me a couple of times and then started saying, I would consider it fairly sarcastically, "Have a good day." I had asked
Have a
him,
good
please do not
day.
talk to me,
Like, what the
to
fuck?
leave me alone.
What the fuck?
He did not. He proceeded to continue to talk to me. He started talking to me about my cameras.
Have a good
asked me
day.
again, please stop talking to me, leave me alone.
Like,
I'm not
what the
recording
fuck?
you. It's my yard. Catherine then joined in and had
Stupid
said, I'm
bitch.
always out there recording them. I'd let her know I'm not recording any private areas. They also have cameras that I don't have an issue with. They proceeded to continue to talk to me, and I proceeded to ask them to leave me alone and no longer talk to me. It continued until I eventually just decided to go back into the house, where I proceeded to then have a panic attack, unfortunately.
Those are the incidents that I want my client to testify about, Your Honor. Any other ones are in my client's statement, but at this time I'd like to reserve a closing. Right now.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm just looking at some evidence here for the testimony. So I'll be with everybody shortly.
Will he grant the TPO? Yes or no? Y'all can vote right now. I will say yes.
Your primary concern are probably two. One is the interactions you have with Ms. Simmons, and the second would be the cameras. And Ms. Simmons, I'm gathering your primary concerns are noise. Is that accurate?
It was noise and then the dog coming
Okay,
into
the
the yard.
dog's right. The dog's gone. So,
Yeah.
what's your concern now?
Well, we were stolen from within the first few months of us moving in, and that is one of the reasons I had originally put up my security cameras, was to have better coverage of the street as well as my front yard. And then I had installed the camera in the backyard for the dogs and then the barking, but I've stopped since recording any of the dogs. They're just now for security purposes.
Okay, but what's your concern now? Now that the dog is gone, do you have a concern with Ms. Peterson and Mr. Langton and their family?
No, I don't personally have any concerns with them. Mine would be security purposes since I was stolen from.
Okay, and to be clear, you're not accusing them of stealing.
No, this was completely separate. Yeah, from that. This was in June while I was out of town. We had stuff stolen from our property.
And is there any purpose for you maintaining the camera on the tree?
My yard is open. It's not fenced. And so I have a back door that's over there. So it shows if anybody can come into my property, either from the reserve that's open behind it or from the side of my yard that is open. We're trying to work on getting a fence in the meantime.
Okay, that one seems a little intentional to me, just looking at it. That's a bothersome camera. I don't, you're entitled to have the cameras on your house. They're providing security that, the view may spill over into neighbors' property. The one on the tree seems intentional. So I'm having a concern about that.
The one
Right.
on the tree was put there for the dog specifically.
Right, and the dogs.
And we are gonna end
I
right
can
there,
move
y'all.
the camera if needed, but I would still like to have a camera.
Hope you have a great day.